This week's episode of The Grid is sponsored by Impics. Shoot today, upload tonight, we ship tomorrow. On One Software, focused on photography. Peach Pit Press, publishers of technology books, ebooks, and videos for creative people. Epson, exceed your vision. Expo Imaging, rogue flash vendors for speedlight enthusiasts. Intel, the power you need for hardcore creatives. Squarespace, everything you need to create an exceptional photography website. And B&H Photo, the professional source.
What I thought we were doing.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another live episode of The Grid. My name is Scott Kelby, and I'm joined by two distinguished gentlemen, each one more distinguished than the next. First to my left,
oh,
my
man.
regular co-host, right back. That's right, I stacked them in order.
I know.
All right, back from Norway, back from Washington State week-long workshop.
Everywhere in Washington State.
Everywhere, and we drove all over Washington State, places people have never driven. Mr. Matt Kliskowski.
Hey everybody, good to be back again.
It's great to have you here, man.
It is. It's been it's been like 2-3 weeks.
It's been a ridiculously long time.
Yeah.
But
next,
as exciting as it is to have Matt back, and it's plenty exciting, we have someone even more exciting because he's here so rarely, and when he is here, he brings joy and happiness to everyone he touches. And that is our moderator, Mr. Brad Moore. No, it's just kidding here. Mr. Vincent Versace. Hey, Vinny.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
It's good to be here on the show.
How are things?
Things
so
are great.
I got to just tell a quick story about Vinny, who has made Brad's life misery. So one day, Vinny and I,
as he does all.
We were at some conference. I forget. We were in Boston.
Okay.
And I said, man, this
Where's
blog
this
thing is killing me. This blog thing is killing me. And I'm going to stop blogging on Wednesdays. I'm taking Wednesdays off. I'm going to stop blogging. That's it. Just no more Wednesdays. And Vinny sees me like at a conference a week later and says, hey, what if instead of just doing nothing on Wednesdays, you did a guest blog and you turned it over to somebody else? I go, God, man, it sounds like a lot of trouble. You have to format all. No, it'll be great. It'll be great. And he says, and I'll write the first one.
That isn't quite the way it happened. You said, that's great, and you'll write the first one.
It probably happened like that. That's great, and you'll write the first one. Well, now it has been a massive success. Every year you come back and do a guest blog to honor the original idea and being the sucker that did the first one.
And it takes me a year to write each and every one of those
I know, they're
blogs.
very thoughtful, though. When you write them, they're very well thought out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell that you put some serious time into it, and you take it seriously. I appreciate that.
Well, a person of my condition is generally considered serious, so yes, I tend to take most things seriously. So,
anyway, now Brad actually has to format that, and he also gets a lot of the people to do it, and he does a tremendous job with it. But Brad sleeps not at all. On Wednesdays are the
Tuesday nights.
Tuesday night, Brad's like, he's drinking hard. He's like, can't believe it's guest blog night.
Because nobody gets it in like early, right? No. Everybody waits until
the very last minute.
11 o'clock on Tuesday night.
I don't give them the date it's going to run. I just tell them when they have to have it to me by.
Oh yeah, so Brad says that he doesn't actually tell them the date.
Oh, so you kind of built up like a little.
He just says it's
that
going to run.
Brad, he's
a smarty.
That Brad, he's that thing.
He's that.
Anyway, hey, we have a very interesting show for you today. We got a really interesting topic. Just a couple real quick things. I released some new classes, and you probably have some new classes.
Mm-hmm.
So I released some brand new classes on the NAPP Member site. So if you are a member of the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, just called NAPP for short, I did a class called, ready for this? Portrait Retouching Using Lightroom Only. Only Lightroom.
Dun, dun, dun.
Only Lightroom. So that just went up this week. Well, because you couldn't do that before because there was no healing brush.
Yep.
Like you could get rid of like some blemishes and stuff, but as soon as you hit one wrinkle, you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, stop right there.
Yeah, right there. Portrait Retouching using Lightroom 5, right there. So it is definitely a Lightroom 5 thing because Lightroom 5 is the one that added that. There it is. There it is. And
if you go back, computer person controlling. So you did Lightroom Killer Tips too.
Yeah, I also did Lightroom Killer Tips. So it's a bunch of cool tips to make things more efficient, more effective. And if you're a NAPP member, just go to the NAPP Member website. Those are there. We have a whole bunch of classes. You just put some up.
Yeah, so and I did my in-depth series, which I basically take like each part of Lightroom and just, it's everything. You know, like the importing, organizing part, there's a class dedicated to that if that's what you want to learn. Class dedicated to the develop module. There's a class dedicated to print and books, and a very short class dedicated to slideshow and web.
Yeah, so if you're into Photoshop or Lightroom.
Like that little...
Yeah, it was good.
Little jab.
I know, it was a good jab, but it was a true jab. Anyway, if you're into that stuff, go to the NAPP Member website and check it out. Over at KelbyTraining, so NAPP is for learning Photoshop and Lightroom. KelbyTraining is for learning photography. We launched this big thing called Beginner Start Here over at KelbyTraining. And so you might have seen a little ad they ran. I saw them running an ad. But basically, you go in there and you tell them what kind of camera you have. So there it says Start Here. Number one, select your camera. And then what kind of brand you have. And then you say what other accessories or interests that you like. You know, I'm interested in learning about filters and tripods, and I'm also into landscape photography. And then it puts together an entire curriculum for you in order, and you can just watch the classes. And the idea is to get you up to the point where you can then watch all the hundreds of classes that we have for intermediate stuff, so including a class from Mr. Vincent Versace.
That's true.
Who just happens to be here on the set today. Prizes. Prizes. We've got prizes today. First off, we're giving away Vinny's new book right here. Signed copy.
Yep.
Right here, Vinny's new book. So it's in stores now. It's called From Oz to Kansas.
It's called From Oz to Kansas. Almost every black and white conversion technique known to man.
Known to man. You have made your reputation on black and white. I mean, you're a tremendous photographer, but your black and white stuff is earned you a place in the Black and White Hall of Fame.
There's no gray area about that, no.
I love that photo. It's always one of my favorites.
I love the cover photo and the story that goes with it.
If you ever go to On One's office out there in Portland, they've got a big print of that photo, and it's gorgeous.
It was.
All right.
Well, go on.
Well, see.
No, what were you saying?
I was going to say it was a fun photograph to take.
Story.
Well, you can read about the story on the blog.
Yeah, he did a blog post about it.
You were away.
I don't like to read.
Tell us real quick. It's a good story.
Well, basically, I wound up talking my way into a suite out of being in a room the size of a closet, and the outcome was that. And you never know what the photograph is going to be. You just have to go on the journey, and when you're done, that becomes the destination. But if you have the opportunity to read it, it was on Guest Blog Wednesday, not last week, but the week prior.
Yeah, so just a couple weeks ago.
Cool.
Guest Blog Wednesday.
We also have Light Right.
This is a deal. They have a deal on this book. Peach, but it has a brand new. I haven't seen it before. I'm just looking before you went in there. It looks very good.
Learn how to create images, set up studio, launch your photography career.
And it's got a lot of commercial photography, a lot of product stuff, and
yeah, it's got a lot of product stuff.
But I was looking through it. It looks pretty good.
No, nice images inside of it. Pizza.
And then
pizza. Pizza. Picture Perfect, practiced by Roberto Valenzuela.
Which is surprising that he found a career after baseball.
A self-training guide to mastering the challenges of taking world-class photos.
That's actually a very good book. I've read that book.
Yeah, looks great too. It's got beautiful photos in it.
I have not read this one though, but that one I did.
Oz to Kansas?
Yeah, I haven't read it.
I've read it. It's very good. All right. Anyway, we're giving away all of those today for some lucky person watching the show. So what's our topic today? Our topic today is the future of post-processing.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about where's it going, where we think it's going, where the signs are posting. We're going to talk about everything from apps to tablets to desktops to software to But that doesn't happen until we pay the bills from these sponsors. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey, look at this.
There's a really big Lightroom conference coming to Las Vegas in September. And if you're into Lightroom, you've got to be there. During this 3-day training event, you'll have unlimited access to the world's top instructors in Lightroom. You'll learn from trainers like Scott Kelby, the world's #1 best-selling book author on Lightroom, Matt Kluskowski, editor of Lightroom magazine and world-leading Lightroom blog, LightroomKillerTips.com, plus Adobe's expert team of instructors like Terry White, Julianne Cost, Brian Hughes, and even Lightroom's product manager, Tom Hogarty, as well as other top instructors in Lightroom training. They'll teach you step-by-step how to take control of your digital photography workflow. If you want to take your Lightroom skills to the next level, you've got to be there. Sign up today.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Matt Klaskowski, who's back from vacation. Vincent Versace, who never takes one.
No, my life's a vacation.
Anyway, so we have an interesting topic today, and we were just talking a little bit about it before we got on the air, and I'd like to jump right into it, except for there is a deal. We have a deal for our readers from Peach Pit Press. Now through June 30th, that book we showed you, Light Right, the one we talked about earlier, right here, is on sale. It is normally $35.99, but for our readers, you get 40% off. Go direct to Peach Pit, you get it for $21.59. All you have to do is put in the viewer code KelbyTV, and with that code, you get it for $21.59 in the ebook version. So check it out. Thank you to Peach Pit for making that offer. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Thank you for just being you.
Thank you.
And as I say to my editor, Ted Wade, every day when we talk, because we don't talk every day, but when we talk, I always sign off by saying the same thing. I say, Ted, feel the love, be the love, make the love.
Next time I talk to Ted, I will say that as well.
You'll be surprised how he
yeah,
responds like a kitten. It's interesting. Anyway, let's talk about the future. So I'm gonna let Matt kick this off, because Matt had some really interesting thoughts about tablet editing, because I know that a lot of people are really into the tablet thing right now. And so let me ask you, Matt, I'm gonna set you up with a question.
Yeah.
How much editing do you do from your DSLR on your tablet?
0.
Really, none?
Nothing.
That's interesting, because you know how much I do?
How much?
0. How much do you do, Vinny?
That would be 0.
Okay. All right, Matt. So let's talk about why.
I had some thoughts on it. So, how much editing? So, here's my cell phone.
All right.
A picture that I take with this, I edit 100% of the pictures on here with this. If I do take a picture with this, which by the way looks really stupid, I would edit it in an app on here. But I guess for my DSLR photos, I don't spend all the money on a DSLR. All the money on lenses and tripods and solid tripods and all these different things to then go on to here and edit my photo in an app that costs $2.99. You know, it's either going to be Lightroom, I mean, it's always going to be Lightroom, and then some degree of Photoshop after. And I mean, a lot of the people I talk to kind of fall into that same thing. These are perfect places to edit photos that you take with these. They're your snapshots. Mm-hmm. They're your I was here photo, and let me throw a vignette on it and put a little vintage effect on it or something like that.
Capturing where you were, who was there.
You're documenting something. Yeah. It's your snap. But I guess if you're talking about like making art, you know, you're sitting there saying, I'm taking my DSLR out. I want to really work this scene and make a photo that I can then print larger and do something with one day. It's still always going to be on my computer. And what's interesting is you know, since a tablet came out, find a software company that's not working on a tablet app of some sort. Sure. Everybody's trying to capitalize on the tablet craze.
They're betting the future of it is the tablet.
Yeah.
Well, it's all right. There was an article in Macworld, the recent Macworld, on which you get what you pay for, which is about we spend all this money on cell phones and smartphones and iPads, and we spend a lot of money, but we expect the apps on those devices to be 99 cents. And if it's $2, oh my God, that's radically expensive.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And now I use my tablet to capture. I have a piece of software that allows me to control my camera and focus and do all of those things, and it's much better to do that, but I would never think...
But it's using a different camera, is that what you're saying? Like you use that tablet
to control my camera, to control the DSLR. The mirrorless approach to photography, or the tongue out of the side of your mouth, you know, kind of photography, is not something that is of interest to me. I like looking through the lens, I like seeing things, I like the way DSLR looks. Now, to try and control a 36 megapixel capture or to manipulate that on a device like this right now is not something I want to do. There's far more powerful software on a desktop and a laptop to do that. You're absolutely right. If you're capturing on this type of device, then all the apps that do that are the apps to use, because the files, though they look nice, are not at the quality of a DSLR. If you're going down that path of spending all the money for glass and spending all the money on the camera, you've made a decision. You're going to make a print out of that. You're going to do something with that file, so you want to have the best possible tool. It's like spending $50,000 on speakers and $100,000 on stereo, and then having a close and play as your sound source, all of a sudden you're only as good as your weakest link. That's not to say that the future doesn't lie in this direction. It's just that that is currently not here.
All right, let me ask you this. What do you think the future of desktop machines are? Because I think that there's going to come a point, Matt and I were talking about this earlier, where the people that use desktop machines are really going to be professionals, like someone like an architect or a serious photographer, because I don't see the public using desktop machines a whole lot longer.
I would say that 80% of my time is spent on my laptop.
Me too.
And
But you travel a lot. You
I travel a
all
lot
over the world.
I do, but the point being is that I don't travel with a desktop. Yes, I may travel with an external Cintiq that I have, a little 13-inch one that I use, but basically it's going to be on a device that's small because it's there, it plugs in, and we're at the power level now where I can handle a 36 megapixel file on a laptop. Do I see the future of desktops expanding? No, I would think that companies like Apple are eventually going to go out of that particular part of the hardware business. I was impressed with the device that they made. I mean,
Right, the one they just came out with.
I mean, Darth Vader's computer is slick.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Somebody's going to build a skin that's going to look like Darth Vader to go on that thing. Or somebody's going to build a clear skin because the...
Or a Death Star around it.
Exactly. And if you look at where that's going, there are no hard drives in it. Everything's external and peripheral. That's the future. Smaller, more
It doesn't have a
cores.
hard drive. I didn't look at all the specs.
Well, it has some level of SD drives, but like you have to network out. So you're not going to have an 8 terabyte RAID in that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You're going to, it all is cabled out.
You know
That's
why I
what-
didn't look at it? Because I knew that I wasn't going to get it.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to get it.
So you guys said 80% of your work. 100% of my work is done on a laptop. I don't own a desktop
100%.
anymore.
Well, I do have a desktop, but I still do most of it on my laptop. Great majority of it. Maybe 90%.
Yeah.
You know what's bad too? My laptop, my desktop machine at home is like a virgin. It's got no mail on it. It's got no fonts on it. It's just like nothing but
Photo editing.
Yeah, it's like I didn't want to pollute it with all these other things, and it's really, really fast and all. And I only use it 10% of the time.
Yeah, I have a 12-core system all tricked out. I mean, I love it when I sit down and use it because I have the big, Cintiq HD that's 100% of Adobe RGB, and it's great to work on that. But I'm in the field most of the time, so I'm finding that where I'm going is on a laptop device. What would I like to see? I'd like to see a laptop with an Adobe RGB monitor on it. I know that that exists in the Windows world, but it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Hey, we got a lot of comments coming in,
Yeah.
Vinny, so can I send some to you?
Sure.
So Robster UK says, the future of post-processing, I think the direction it's going, looking at CC, which is the Creative Cloud version of Photoshop, shake reduction, etc., is making the whole thing easier for everyone. It's getting towards a one-button fix, which in the long term will stop all the Photoshop tutorials and training. Don't say that, Robster.
Delete this comment.
I think it's an art, and it needs to be learned with your own twist.
If I may, on
You
that
may,
one.
please.
Okay. I think the fault with photography today is the default settings. Is that where we're at is that we hit a button and good enough is good enough. And back in the day of analog, you had to go through so much experience to get to the point where you had a skill set that was your voice and your style. And what we've worked towards doing is making presets that get you to a point where this is where we had to bust a lot of effort to get to. And so we look at that and we go, oh, that's good enough. And we stop adding to it. I pray to the photo gods that it's not one button and we're done, because that takes away voice, expression. It takes away what is good about photography, which is what somebody has to say. I think that the tools today are incredibly powerful. I think shake reduction probably for me is one of the more brilliant Adobe ideas, to look at how to undo out of focus photographs by shrinking the blur radius. That's a brilliant piece of thought. But I think and I hope that the future is more towards less default and more creativity. And I think that we'll see training more on voice and less on technique, which I think is where we should go, is to use the instrument of Photoshop or whatever processing software you use as a way to access your expression, not to be a button and, oh, wow, it looks cool, and then walk away.
Well said. I'm glad you took that one.
Thank you.
Hey, the next one, the person, oh, hey, what did they say? I wanted to, can you bring that back for a second, Brad? I wanted to let me just see if it was still Robster's comment that I wanted to, Okay, maybe it's not that one. Let's go to Kent Cab. So Kent Cab says tablets aren't able to be color calibrated. So Kent, I don't know where you live, but I would ask you to do this. There's probably a Best Buy where you live. If you live in the United States, if you live in Canada, what's the big chain in Canada?
I don't know.
Damn it, it's
one out west.
London Drugs. London Drugs.
And then was it out west? Fry's, is it?
No, it's London Drugs.
London Drugs?
London Drugs is the big chain store that sells camera equipment and sells
and drugs
and printers and.
Okay, go to Henry's. All right, I know they're in Canada, but no, really, you want to go to an electronics store.
Yeah.
So here's why. The most depressing thing for anyone who even thinks about calibration is to go to Best Buy and go to the computer aisle and see all these monitors.
Yep.
Every single one looks different. Go to the television department. There's 200 displays. No two look alike. So while if you're going to print, which is not what you're going to do with your tablet, I think a calibrated workflow is really important because you don't want to be doing one thing on screen and something else comes out of the printer. But your medium and most of our mediums today, quite honestly, is not the print, which is a shame because there is something magical about the print. I mean, there's an emotional impact prints have that I don't think we'll ever get from anything behind a tablet screen.
I agree.
But your medium is really going to be another tablet of which you have no control over what it looks like. You can't see what they're going to be looking on a Surface or an HP tablet. Yep. Tablets aren't made anymore. An iPad 1, an iPad 2, an iPad 3, a Retina, or they're going to be still looking at your work that you did on your tablet on their laptop, their desktop, whatever. All bets are off once it leaves your machine in the world we live in today. So that is that world of calibration really is down to this printing.
Color calibration is important for you.
It's important for you and your printer.
Yep.
Future Shop. There he goes. There it is. Thank you. Future Shop. That's the one in Canada. I wasn't thinking camera chain. I was thinking like electronics store. Like what would be the equivalent of Best Buy. So anyways, all right, take it, Maddie.
RZF Images says, is it just me or is it really annoying when people take pictures and videos with full-size iPad or even an iPad mini? It just looks so awkward.
It's annoying. I have a difficulty with it.
Dorky.
I went to a wedding last weekend. I can't tell you how many people were holding up iPads.
Oh, gosh.
And what's weird is when you hold up an iPad, it's pretty good size.
Yeah.
People behind you are like, hey, up in front.
I can see.
Know. But no, seriously. I mean, it is funny to go to a wedding today and see how many iPhones, iPads, and all. You know what was funny, though? I did run into a woman who was at the wedding, like, the following week. And she sees my wife, and she goes, did you get any pictures? She goes, all my pictures are blurry. They're awful. I would never show her. And the bride's mom is calling everybody and saying, hey, send us your pictures. And they're all like, because it was dark in the wedding. It was supposed to be held outside, and it was just pouring rain. They moved it indoors, and it was low light. And I never even took out my camera. I didn't take my camera. I took my, because I don't want to be rude to the other, if you're a wedding photographer, you're trying to make a living, I don't want to show up with a DSLR and I've got this, excuse me, I hate that.
I'll take it here.
I'll take it from here. Everyone step back. I've got a DSLR.
Excuse me, I've got the DSLR.
I'm the third shooter. Anyway, but no, I never even took my camera out. But I saw people holding up their cameras and I knew these are going to be the blurriest, grainiest stuff ever. All right, Glenn Dewis says, hello, Glenn. First, hi, Glenn. So Glenn is, he is a Photoshop and photography monster. Do you know Glenn?
I do.
He's awesome.
He's forgotten more about Photoshop than I'll ever know.
Oh, he's insane. Anyway, but he's a great guy, and we'll see what he says, and we'll decide if he's still great. Post-processing is primarily about being creative as opposed to being corrective. If someone is finding themselves spending more time correcting their images, then those corrections should have been dealt with at the time of the shoot. Here. Then they are the problem, not post-processing.
I agree. The first thing that I was taught as a photographer is get it right in the camera or get it as close to right in the camera as you possibly can. Photoshop is an emery board, not a jackhammer.
Leave that there.
I guess, yeah, I don't know. I guess our topic is the future of post-processing, though.
Right, yeah.
We're not, I don't think anyone argues
that's
get it right in the camera.
That's the overarching concept, is that get it right in the camera, and that regardless where post-processing software goes, that the goal is to make it so that you're just emery boarding it. And if anything, the tool should be to make it easier, not to make it more complex. And if I was looking at where the future of post-processing software should go, it should be that the tools become simpler. That should there be a Photoshop strictly for photography. One could argue that Lightroom is kind of that.
Yeah.
My thing is that I would love to see a hybrid between the two, more Photoshop-esque than Lightroom-esque, because...
So would we. So would we. Yeah. We did a whole show on it.
Hey, I want to mention something about Glenn's comment, but before we do, hey, we're going to take a break in just a moment, just not right this second, but when we come back, I'd like to hear what our viewers think the future is going to be. Like, I'd like to hear some of their ideas, what you guys are thinking. So, or maybe it's where would you like the future? I think that's maybe better, is what would you like to see? As a photographer, how do you want to see it go to tablets? Do you really see yourself post-processing your DSLR images on a tablet? Or is it going to be like Matt said, and I think that, like you said, if we take the images, if we capture the images on that device, because I did that this weekend. I was in New York, I was in my hotel room, I took a picture, went to Camera Plus, did 2 things, posted it right there. I love that ability. Are we ever going to have that ability in a camera? Let's talk about these things after the break. But first, so Glenn Dewis made this comment, and for those of you who don't know Glenn, first you should look him up go Google him. But I do an imitation of him, and I've heard more people say that it is so. Is it the spot on? Is it?
I don't know if I've seen it.
No, it is. Everyone says it's the most spot on of how he talks.
Okay.
And so I'm going to read his thing as if it's Glenn speaking.
I'm going to close my eyes.
Post-processing is primarily... No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, that is Glenn.
I couldn't even pull it off.
That is Glenn.
Anyway, we're going to take a short... We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we really want to hear. We're going to be talking to Vinny here because he's a guy, and he's our guest. Don't go away. We'll be right back here live on the grid.
Well, last time.
Hi everyone, we are the Photoshop Guys. I'm Corey Barker.
And I'm Pete Collins.
And today we're here to talk about a very special offer for NAPP and KelbyTraining members. Wacom Industries is offering their Intuos 5 medium tablet for $50 off. This is exclusive for NAPP and KelbyTraining members, and this offer is good till June 23rd.
And what's amazing about this is the best price you can get this anywhere. Yep. It's just for our members, and that's pretty exciting.
That's right, and the price is normally $349, and with this offer, it is now $299. Now, where do you find out how to get this discount? Now, go to your member site, go to the discount section and find out your coupon code, or check your email. Chances are you've got an email right now that has a coupon code right there waiting for you. So be sure to check that out. Go to Wacom.com to the online store and get your Intuos 5 medium.
Hey, we're back. Scott here with Matt Klaskowski and a guy named Vinny. Anyway, hey.
Better than being a boy named Sue.
It is. Nobody knows that song anyway, because it's so old. It shows your and my.
Yes.
Do you know that song, Boy Named Sue?
No.
You really don't know it?
You don't? Do you know it?
Johnny, it's a famous Johnny Cash song, right?
It is a famous Johnny Cash song.
If you sing it,
we're not singing it.
No.
Hey, we want to shout out to Wacom. We saw their little tablet commercial there a minute ago, and we all use them. You use a big son of a gun
Cintiq.
honking Cintiq.
I travel with a Cintiq, and I have Cintiqs on all the computers in my studio.
I travel with an Intuos 5 small. You know what I love about that, dude? It fits perfectly in my laptop bag.
Yep.
I slide it right in my laptop bag.
I have one of those.
And I've got a medium at home. I got a medium on my desk here at the office. What do you use?
I have a small at home. I travel with a small. I have a medium on my desk here, but honestly, I like the small the best.
I like the small too.
And
I wouldn't say that because they're our sponsor, but I like the small.
I know.
Don't tell them I said that.
I like the Cintiq myself.
Yeah, you like the giant one.
No, I have a little 13 one that I travel with. I have the big giant.
Oh, you got the new one?
Yeah, that's
the little one?
The little one's great. It's what I use when I go do seminars and workshops, and when I'm in the field, I like to use it.
It feels so awkward to me to do that. You know what a part of it is? I don't have 1 ounce of traditional art experience, so feel is not something to me. I want tactile, like mouse. And, and I was never a painter.
I used to do watercolor painting and sketch.
I don't have that.
There you go.
For me, it's like that's the most natural thing to do.
All right, I'm going to throw you a few more here. So let's, hey, there's John Gleipter. John Gleipter from Philadelphia. How you doing, John? He doesn't sound anything like that. I know John. He's a good guy. He shoots for the Philadelphia Phillies. And so anyway, John says the future is Lightroom with layers. That's good, John. We kind of feel. How about can we make it Lightroom with layers and a few filters?
A few filters.
Just a few filters, like 4, like unsharp mask, Gaussian blur, high pass.
What I'd like to see Lightroom do is with third-party plugins, instead of having to go to TIFF to be able to do that on a RAW file, because the problem with RAW processors for me is that I do use several third-party plugins, and the minute I have to go to TIFF, where should I be? I should be in the more powerful software, which is Photoshop, because it gives me access to all these other things. I would love to be able to have third-party plugins actually on the RAW file.
Ooh.
And I would.
So, can I take it a step further?
Yes.
And I love all my plugins, and I wish those companies to succeed in the future. But if I'm going to a third-party plugin for something every single photo, Lightroom should probably have it.
Well, the issue, I think, is one of, all right, between McNally, Maisel, Black, and myself, we all have a skill set to take a picture, correct? So why do you hire one over the other?
Well, they all have their own look.
Their own vision, their own look, their own way. They all have the same skill ability. Does Lightroom have the ability to do black and white? Yes, it does. Do I think that there are better ways to do black and white? Yes, I do. And that has to be a third.
Yes, he does.
No gratuitous plug of my book there.
No, that's a good point.
You mentioned your book, which is available, by the way. It's published by Peach Pit Press. It's available at Amazon.com or wherever fine books are sold. Remember, he did not mention his book, and I respect you for that, because if I had written a book this good, I would be mentioning it every day. I would wear shirts that had this on the front. I'd be in the mall.
Who says I don't do that?
I wrote this.
I have it tattooed.
I stand corrected. That's a very good point.
I mean,
because it would be impossible. Because you know what would happen? What would happen is there's a filter in Photoshop that you could do something similar with, and some people love it, and some people probably don't like it and say I'd rather use ON1's Perfect Effects. And so to what you said, that's a great point. Is you do need all those third-party plugins because they each have a little bit of a different.
Well, there's a different.
But applying them to the RAW photo.
Oh, I agree with that.
Well, no, it's like, I mean, you saw the hint of that with a piece of software that shall remain nameless, where they had third-party plugins that they were going to do that, and the future has left that in the dirt. But the point is that
the software no longer supported or updated?
I'm not going to.
Can you use the software as a search engine?
No.
Okay.
So the point of it is that I would love.
The software named 2 letters.
And a number. But do I use that software? To this day, because of the way in which it handles certain aspects of my workflow. Would I love to have a 100% Adobe workflow? Yeah, it would be nice. But there are things that are done better by other people only because their vision of the world is different than other visions. And variety is a spice of life. So having that causes for better software.
Dude, I will no longer ask Adobe to include what all third-party plugins include. It's a great point. That's why they're needed.
Very good. Hey, we have some more comments here. Phil B says, I don't ever see myself post-processing on a tablet.
Huh.
I see myself post-processing on a more Cintiq-like approach on a laptop, which is interactive control, touch control on a bigger screen, being able to have...
With a pen.
With a pen.
So going backwards to like a Newton. No,
and Glenn Dewis even says the future of post-processing is Cintiq-based.
Won't get an argument with me there. Glenn and I are on the same page.
I might disagree, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean, that's you know what? I don't know. I just, when I have a tablet, the last thing I want to do is grab a pen. But you know what? When I cannot retouch without a pen. So I mean, I won't retouch anything. I'll wait until I get back to my house to retouch before I retouch without a tablet. Garrick says, I would love, and he writes that in all caps, I would love to edit images or at least collections on an iPad. Now, I think what Garrick is talking about, though, well, I don't know, or at least, because he says, or at least collections. It sounds like you're talking about creating collections on an iPad, maybe syncing back to Lightroom. I see a future with Photoshop CC at $9.99 a month. Okay, that's what it is now. It's $9.99. If you have Photoshop CS6, it's $9.99. Or a strong competitor picking up a lot of the former Photoshop customers.
Well, I mean, let's look at that. The argument of CC, Okay, oh my God, they're charging this much money, et cetera. If you're doing this professionally, it's just the cost of doing business, and that is the way it is.
And by the way, professionals love it.
Right, I've got no problem with
Dude,
it.
it's $10 a month.
I mean, at first, my first concern was, all right, I'm in the Himalayas, and I'm not connected to the cloud, I'm doomed. But the fact is that that's not true.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't really...
Because you're always connected to the cloud in the Himalayas. Get it? Come on,
you're in the clouds.
You're in the
clouds.
Well, I've been accused of being in the clouds.
No, that's not true for other reasons, but go ahead.
But I mean, so that is not true because the software lives on my laptop. My only concern is by going to that paradigm, are we going to see the push for innovation? Is there going to be a slack back? I hope not. I believe not, because I know Adobe to be an innovative, creative company.
I don't think it's Adobe's choice. I think that if they don't deliver, they'll lose people. If they don't keep making reasons for you to keep paying, that they'll lose people, and that's why I think they're going to try to innovate. Plus, you know the guys at Adobe. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean,
they're like, the engineers at Adobe are like psychotic about.
No, I'm offering the devil's advocate argument.
I mean, Adobe just didn't release the cloud and say,
"Oh, that's it.
We're
got
done.
the cloud done."
Engineers, out of here.
Everybody, go take a break.
Go home.
Yeah,
3-year sabbatical.
No, nor am I saying
they were crazy. Like Jeff Chen and
no, Jeff's great. Jeff's wicked smart. Nor am I saying that. What I'm offering is the devil's advocate argument, which is the potential exists that what they will do is coast. I think that what will occur is if they were to do that, somebody would step up to the plate and fill that in. So it actually, in some senses, makes them more competitive in the need to constantly innovate to keep people wanting to stay.
Right.
So,
and you know what I always say, as long as there's a Jeff Chen, and there's only one. All right, David Tang. Hey, David Tang, he was our second assistant on our shoot in New York this week. Very good guy, very good photographer. When Superstorm Sandy came through, I wasn't able to connect to the internet and verify my CC subscription. It was out Photoshop until the power and internet connection were restored. Hey, you know what, David, I hate to tell you this, but if your power goes out, there will be a time at which your Photoshop will be unusable. And it has nothing to do with your CC subscription, because Photoshop at the end of the day actually does need power. It'll run for a little while.
Interesting.
And even when he had power, he didn't have internet.
I know.
right, but that's not the way it is now. I mean, you can have 30-day, 90-day, 60-day, a year subscriptions.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Maybe David doesn't realize that. But yeah, you can go, 90 days without it being attached? But look.
You can go actually longer, but 90 is kind of
you can go a while.
out of the box.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, RZF Images. There's still a place for a powerful desktop like a Mac Pro for the processing power, but then it will also make sense to have a laptop for the versatility of downloading and editing on the go. So we think laptops are going to be around?
I think laptops are going to stay. So look at what happened. We went from desktop and laptops kind of just took over the world. I mean, everybody has a laptop. And then we went to bigger laptops, 17-inch, 18-inch
and now
laptops.
we're going the other way.
But you noticed a few years ago, I mean, Apple stopped making the 17-inch. Those laptops kind of went back down to about that 15-inch.
Is the magic.
Kind of seemed like the sweet spot. And now we've come down to this. And even smaller than this.
Right, but smaller than that, it's not to work on.
To me, these are content consumption devices.
Correct.
Watch videos. Play.
You don't have a mini?
I don't have a mini.
Dude, if you have a mini, you'll put that thing in the drawer and you'll never go back to it. So don't buy one because you like that.
But they'll become, to me, they're content consumption devices, and they're extremely awkward to actually work on. I think people like their mouse. I think people like a whole lot of different things about the laptop, and so I think people will think we're going to come down to this, and I think we're going to come back up and settle close to a laptop.
Here's what the UI interface for human beings actually is. That, okay? So you have to be able to access things with that. It's like there's a form factor for a DSLR. They've tried to make them smaller, but then that's not possible for humans to use. What do I see this as? This is kind of the UI of life. Like, I completely control my camera with software. So when I want to focus and use live view and all of that, this is great for that. But do I want to manipulate an image on it? No, 15 inches is perfect. 17 inches is too big if you travel a lot because it gets caught on chairs and things, and it's just, that's unwieldy.
And 13 inches is great for someone who just needs to do like Power or Excel spreadsheets and Word and stuff.
Yeah, 15 inches is the form factor that the keyboard's about right. Everything is right based off of this is what we have to interact with technology. Now, what do I see? Laptops? I see the kind of choice to be able to flip it up and have keyboard access. Like the one thing I like about the Surface is the keyboard in the cover. I think that that's a smart thing. The rest of it, I'm an iPad guy.
And they make all kinds of ones with keyboards in the cover.
No, but the way that the way it clicks in and works, that was a smart call on Microsoft's part with the design of that. Do I see that happening to this? I hope so. That would be nice. But as the UI for imaging, I don't see this. This is a consumption device and some limited access to technology to control things or to measure things. What I see is a laptop. Is there a future for desktops? Yeah. Do I own one? Yeah. Will I always own one? Yeah, because sometimes I need the power of a desktop to do that, and I'm always going to have one.
I should get a desktop, shouldn't I?
No. Hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, you know what I'd like to talk about, Vinny?
Love. I
want to talk about love, because you know we don't talk about enough on this show?
Love.
You know why?
I love you, dude, man. Right here.
You know, I've always wanted to get that from a P.F. Chang's employee. Hey, hey, I love your Mongolian beef. Seriously, I love your Mongolian beef stuff.
I like the noodles.
Cashew chicken.
Cashew, almond and cashew chicken. Hey, when we come back, here's what I want to talk about.
You were waiting for that, weren't you?
A little bit. What I'm hoping to talk about when we get back is what if we had, because we can do this now, but I want to talk about wireless, DSLR wireless going to your pad, not controlling from your pad, going from your pad. Don't say it, hold it. Oh, by the way, I'll take a quart of Fiji water. I like the big bottle of Fiji. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to plug
lettuce wraps too. Lettuce wraps.
I love lettuce
wraps.
Spring rolls. Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to plug the death to a sponsor. Just plug them to death till our teeth fall out, and then we're going to talk about this other thing. So, and we're going to read more comments too. Don't go away.
You mean P.F. Chang's is not a sponsor?
They should be. Yeah. P.F. Chang's. I get
we
a
haven't
gift
been
card.
there for lunch yet.
I was there today for lunch. I just came back.
Here at KelbyTraining, we have hundreds of classes and thousands of lessons on all kinds of photography techniques, from beginners to advanced. But if you're just starting out, maybe unboxing your first DSLR, you may not have a clue where to begin. What if you had an opportunity to learn from world-class photography instructors exactly what you need to get started? From the very beginning, with help all along the way. KelbyTraining now can give you just that. We're launching an innovative new tool for beginners called Beginners Start Here. It'll lay the foundation needed to understand your camera and walk you through how to capture beautiful images. And the best part is, all you have to do is tell us a little about yourself, such as your camera manufacturer, your DSLR model, and what you're interested in. And we'll design a custom curriculum to help you take your photography to the next level. It's the perfect way to learn at your own pace, on your own time. Plus, with a subscription, you get access to our online training wherever you are, so you can replay specific clips or even repeat the entire class if you'd like. We'll take you step by step, right through the process, so you can start taking good images in no time. And as you grow, we have a huge library of classes on all different kinds of photography techniques that can help you take your photography beyond the basics. So if you're just starting out and itching to turn that mode dial to something other than auto, then this is for you. And we're passionate about teaching you how, every step of the way. Start here at KelbyTraining.com.
Hey, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Vinny and Matt. Hey, we have a bunch of comments we're going to get to. We saw a whole bunch of them. I just want to pose this one thing. But before we do, did I tell you about our sponsor?
P.F.
Let me tell you. P.F. Chang's. No, Squarespace. Squarespace is awesome. Not
just
only,
as good.
Let me ask, do you use Squarespace yet?
I get the chicken.
Do you have $8 a month? Do you have $8? Do you make $8 a month?
No, I'm a photographer. No, actually, I'm a professional photographer. No, I'm making millions, boatloads.
Boatloads. Okay, anyway, Squarespace is an amazing site. I just signed up for them just a few months ago. They had like a 14-day trial. If anybody has those 14-day trials, they work on me. So that's how I got on SmugMug. And then Squarespace has their trial. And what the deal is they have pre-designed absolutely beautiful templates. It's not just that they're portfolio templates, but it's so well thought out and so easy.
Yep.
It's like, I went to the new Flickr and I tried it out, and it's like, it's pretty, but it's a disaster on the back end.
Yes.
Squarespace is brilliant on the back end, and it's like, you can get it for $8 a month. They have beautiful templates. Matt's got one. You have one, a real nice one.
I do, and I signed up. I had my portfolio going in like 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's literally...
And you can, it's not just portfolios. Like if you ever wanted to do a blog site and a portfolio and it's a whole website solution.
Yeah,
and
blog and
it's
everything.
Just so easy. The way you just drag and drop little widgets in where you want. And
It's
elegant.
amazingly. Whoever put it together is super smart. Go to squarespace.com. I want to thank them for being our sponsor. Couldn't do the show without them because it's a free show. So thank you, Squarespace. Go check out their stuff. You'll dig it. If you have a SmugMug account, they have a partnership with SmugMug. I had already had all of my stuff for SmugMug if I want to sell it or whatever, and it sucks in your SmugMug things.
Yeah.
There's a little SmugMug icon, and they work together. It's really, really great. So, all right, what I wanted to pose to you, Vincent, if that is your real name.
It is today.
It is. So is
Vincent Fu.
So is there going to be a point where we shoot on our DSLRs and we're able to edit on the back of them or edit straight to a tablet? Because it's like consumers are getting all this stuff. Consumers are getting Android operating systems and all this stuff in the back of their camera. And with consumer cameras, you can go click and it goes to your pad. But as soon as you get to a serious camera, all of a sudden it's like, well, it's kind of expensive. You have to buy a special card and all. When does that happen? When do we get to that workflow where I can shoot it? Now, I know it can happen. Don't say, Scott, there's all kinds of software. It's still a pain in the butt. If you have a compact flash card, you're just about screwed. There's only a really good thing working if you use an SD card. And then if you use an SD card and you send your images wirelessly to your laptop, but you only send like a low-res JPEG, not a full raw image.
It's all bandwidth, all right? So it has to come up with how do we want to look at this. If you look at a piece of software called Live Picture,
right?
What they were capable of doing back in the day was on an 040 processor, you could work on files that could be a gig big because they had an ASCII instruction set. You did all the things you were going to do, and when you were done, at the end of it, it then processed it.
You mean just like Camera Raw?
Just like Camera Raw. Okay, so at the back end of it, then it processes the file.
Right, at the very end.
Okay, that's a great way to look at stuff. What do I see the future? I can shoot it, it will send it to a tablet. If I want to do corrections, I can then do corrections, or to my laptop, I can do corrections. And then when I'm all done, it will take those corrections off the low-res image and apply them to the high-res image.
Oh, now that's good.
So that would make sense. The back of a camera, if you cannot calibrate the device, you shouldn't work on that device to image edit.
You can't calibrate the LCDs that are on a DSLR.
That's my point. So if you can't calibrate the back of the LCD, then really and truly you're making decisions based on no awareness of what's going on.
But you can't calibrate the tablet either.
Again, you're making decisions based on no awareness of what's going on. Should you have a device that should plug into the port over there that goes on the screen that should calibrate it? Yes, that requires Apple opening up the operating system to some degree to allow for proper profiling. Would it be nice? Yes, it would. Is it the reality now? No, it isn't. So since it isn't that reality, where are you back to? You're back to working on...
I know, but I want to know what the future is.
The future is that there are going to be devices that are calibratable because you have to be able to do that, and eventually...
And what are you calibrating to?
Calibrating in a device that fits on here, a hardware device.
No, but I'm saying is, like, what am I calibrating this iPad for? Because it's just for me, right?
Oh, no, all right. The problem is, all right, how do I know that red's that red? I just know that it is
Pantone 485.
Okay, I just know that it is a red on that monitor. I don't necessarily know that it's Pantone 485.
It is, though.
Okay,
I have the spec.
I believe you. But what happens if on my monitor it's not Pantone 485, it's Pantone 487?
It's a different red.
It's a different red. That's my point. With calibration, Pantone 485 is Pantone 485.
Okay, but not on their tablet. That's what. So if you take if I take a picture, my tablet is calibrated, my DSLR is calibrated, and I put it on Facebook, nobody else's tablet is calibrated. They'll see it on whatever they're looking at.
If their tablet is calibrated,
but they won't. The world is not going to do it.
The world is not that now. Okay, and you're asking me what is the future of photography and what do I see the capability of being? Not the cosmic reality of is that nobody calibrates. Why? Because nobody has a calibrator for that device. Do I calibrate all my monitors? Yes, I do. Why? Because I work on them all the time, and I want them to be properly calibrated so I know what colors.
But you print.
I print.
You're a printing man.
I am a printing man. I think that the print is all.
All right. Hey, just because I brought up print, 15 seconds. What paper are you printing on now?
I'm printing on exhibition fiber.
That's
and
the stuff, isn't it?
For black and white, it is, and cold pressed natural for my color. I like matte papers for color. Actually,
cold pressed natural.
That photograph is on the box of cold pressed natural.
Well, there you go. You've sold out to cold pressed natural.
I have sold out.
We have a bunch of your questions I'd like to get through, but I'm going to let you guys do most of the answering. El Baldwi, or Le Baldwi. You forget that Canon and Nikon both have 802.11b transmitters. They sure do. Have you priced them? They cost more than a DSLR.
And eventually, I believe that that will be built into a camera.
Well, absolutely. It needs to be built and into the flash, by the way.
Correct.
So let's say it is. Doesn't that still require that you're standing right near a wireless? Or are you just you're talking about coming back to your house and transferring?
No, you could build a. Can you build a network off of those, like a private network, Brad?
Well,
Brad hasn't used them, he doesn't know.
I use a device called a Cam Ranger, which has a transmitter.
Right, yeah, Cam Ranger's cool.
And so what it does is, yes, you can, because this is a wireless device that plugs into my camera and transmits to my iPad and allows me to hook up to that, and I can have the client look at the captures as I'm taking them, and I can control the camera on that. That is the direction of where we're going to go.
And that's a private network?
Yeah, it's a private network.
It's a naughty network.
Yes, it's a bit naughty.
It's a bit naughty. All right, Marty.
I love my Canon 6D. It's built-in Wi-Fi. It sends raw images to my iPad wirelessly, so that's part of available without an iFi card.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Marty, that's cool.
Jim Kieran's the software as a service isn't taking off like the companies who manufacture them would like it to. People still want an app in hand with complete control over it. Maybe in the future, but I don't think so in the immediate future. I would disagree, Jim.
I would have to disagree.
I think it is taking. I think companies are extremely happy with the way it's taken off.
Yeah,
I think Jim's not happy with the choice.
There are arguments as to why that becomes a pain point. After looking at it, at first I was a bit skeptical, and when I look at it, it just comes down to one simple argument: it's the price of doing business, and it's what I charge, and I've factored into what I do.
Hey, can I drop down to Dr. Adam?
Sure.
Okay, Dr. Adam, it's interesting we're still talking 2D. What will we be doing when we have 3D screens or use Google Glass to view our photos or even process them? Here's the thing, Dr. Adam. Our 3D, I think, as a medium is kind of almost dead.
I can't stand 3D movies.
Well, you don't have to worry about it because like the 3D televisions, I read a whole article this week about how they're dying. In fact, one of the big leaders in 3D television was ESPN, and ESPN's like, yeah, we're not going to broadcast that crap anymore. So anyway, you know what it was? And they really said it. Everybody wanted 3D except for the consumers. The electronic stores wanted it, the manufacturers wanted it, the industry wanted it, the movie business wanted it, everybody wanted it, but really the people that you're actually making it for. So I don't think that 3D is going to really be, I don't think it's going to catch on in the way that, I don't think it's the future.
And we talked about Google Glass probably 3 or 4 weeks ago when I was on the show with RC, and I even cited you as my discussion with you because we got into somebody had mentioned whether Google Glass was going to be, everybody was going to flock to it, and because he had mentioned Google Glass too.
I see a lot of car accidents with Google Glass.
Well, not just that. Scott to me came up with I thought the #1 reason why that is not going to become mass market. Everybody's got it.
No, and if it's what I think it was from our conversation is everybody's so worried about privacy. You can't go in the men's room with those glasses on. You go in those men's room with the glasses on, you're coming out with black eyes.
Imagine going to the men's room like this.
Because that's what you're doing. You're walking around all day long taking pictures, and the creepy factor that you're going to have wearing Google Glass is going to be staggering. Women are going to look at you and go, creepy. What's he taking pictures of? What's
you're going to be at a park?
You're going to be in a park, and your kids are going to be there.
Officer,
there's a guy taking pictures of my kids. No, he's not. Yeah, he's got a camera right there. I'm really worried about that whole thing. I think it'll be a niche-y kind of thing. Remember how everybody used to put those blue earpieces in their ear and it blinked like, hey, I'm wireless, check me out. I think there will be those people who will wear it around to be cool, but I don't ever see that I think it'll becoming a curiosity, but you'll go to restaurants and you'll see a sign, no Google Glass.
Bars.
I
no
want
Google
Jarvis.
Glass.
Movie theaters, any theater, any type of a theater.
Any type of a theater, no Google Glass.
Sadly, I did the show with RC, and I said the same earpiece thing. Yeah. He's like, but I wear the earpieces. So
it was a message to RC.
For Google Glass.
No, I want Tony Stark's Jarvis. I want the sunglasses with the holder.
Now
if you're going to do it.
You're going to do all the way. Jim Roberts, post-process in camera with a tablet size image. With tablet image size. I'm not sure what that means, Jim, but it's a well-structured sentence. Scott Brumfield, if they could build a tablet laptop combo that is as powerful as my desktop or the new Mac Pro, I would go with it. So here's the thing, Scott, and see if I'm wrong on this, but whatever laptop you can get today is faster than 2 years ago desktop. You go back just a few years, today's laptops are blowing them out. So what you could say is that at some point, you're there. And a MacBook Pro today at Retina is incredibly fast, blows away desktops from just a couple of years ago. Maybe not 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. But
no, 2 years ago. I have the last 17-inch laptop, right? Yeah. And I had to switch because I have two D800s, one for infrared, one for full spectrum. And
you converted to infrared?
I did.
I'm proud of you. That's manning up.
Well,
He's a man.
I'm a man.
You are a man.
Last time I checked.
You're very masculine.
With masculine tendencies.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Onward. Onward.
Onward. The point being is that when I had my 17-inch laptop, the amount of time that it took to process the 36 megapixel capture was so long that I had to buy something new because I couldn't waste the time. The new laptop that I bought in January is faster than the quad core that I had prior to upgrading to 12.
Yeah, see.
And the point is, no, we're at that technology today. What would I like to see? I'd like to see a touchscreen laptop. That would be great. Or I'd like to see, for me, a Cintiq interface-like device on a Mac laptop because I'm Cintiq based.
All right, here we go. Here's the one. I love this guy. Il Baldwi. Mirrorless cameras, large fast file transfer, post-process on a tablet, upload fast from anywhere.
Mirrorless cameras for me, I like looking through the lens.
I do too.
I mean, it's just, nothing that I do ever looks as beautiful as it looks through the lens in that reality. Now, in the reality of Photoshop. Mirrorless photography, I own a mirrorless camera. I think it's great for situations where I don't want to say, hi, I'm a pro, or golf where there's no shutter because of the electronic shutter. But I hope that we never see a day that it's 100% mirrorless. I hope that we always have the ability to look through the glass.
Here. Chad McCormick, one future possibility. One-shot clicks from light field camera to phone, tablet. Choose focus and creative decisions in post with high enough resolution that all composition rules will be irrelevant.
Well, all composition rules are already irrelevant now because the only composition rule should be if it looks cool, take a picture of it. And fill the frame or choose not to fill the frame, but be conscious about that choice. Other than that, all bets are off.
Yeah, I think what he's kind of saying is you're looking at like when they're talking about these 4K cameras where you basically just run video, grab a frame.
No.
And then crop it afterwards.
Light is a light truss camera. And a light field camera is an incredibly cool concept, which is any depth of field you can refocus.
Right, you can do it afterwards. Yeah,
and the problem with that, I think, is the quality of the optics and the file sizes, like you said, not relevant.
People are talking about licensing that technology and stuff from them.
And they should, because that, for me, for the type of, the image harvesting stuff that I do, would be great to have that.
Alex says the future is not on the iPad.
Capital not.
I would never shoot with my DSLR and process on the iPad. It makes no sense. How much storage should the iPad come to contain thousands of raw files? No thanks. I love my desk. I love my desktop. I love my chair. I love Photoshop and Lightroom. You can take me away from this setup until I'm dead. You can't take me away from this setup until I'm dead and gone.
So you're the Photoshop equivalent of the NRA. So
yeah. We're not talking about guns here, Alex. Okay, Johnny Panic. I like his name. Your computer just died?
Well, so no. Let's go to his point, though. I think that it's a hybrid between laptop, desktop, because you can use laptops now as desktops. I agree with him, and you're never going to take that away from me. I don't think that the future is this device for image processing. I think
for serious photography.
For serious photography.
Yeah. For consumers, it already is.
Well, no, and you could argue that consumers are serious about their photography.
Yeah.
I just like to look through the lens. It's you know, what art form do you choose? There are people that...
No, but we're old guys. What happens to, like, I don't think my kid, who's 16 now, he's actually taking this next year in high school.
How old is your kid?
He's 16. Dude, he's huge. He's 6'1". He's a beast.
No, I remember when he was...
I know, and he was a little kid. He's a beast now. He's a beast. He's up in up north rowing at a rowing camp.
I now feel old. Thank you for that.
He's a beast. Anyway, he's the coolest kid ever.
Thank you for that.
All right, but here's the thing. He's taking photography this coming up in this next school year, and I don't think he has any attachment whatsoever to looking through the lens.
Nope.
And you know what else too? I don't think he has any problem with picking up an iPad and taking photos. I mean, it's the younger generation looks at all of this stuff so differently. But I totally agree with you because I'm 112 years old. I love looking through. Like, you ever look through a Sony viewfinder? Mm-hmm. Right? What do you think?
You mean the electronic viewfinder?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I already look at enough on a monitor. That's my thing.
Yeah, now you're looking at a small monitor.
Right, and so
but there's some cool things about it.
No, there's cool things about it. There's all sorts of cool things about being able to see things differently. I mean, you can see more detail and stuff.
It freaks me out.
The thing that I like is I like looking through the glass.
I do too.
Now, I don't think that we can argue that I'm not a digital photographer and that I am rooted in digital photography. I will say this, that it is my training as a film photographer that is what made me be the digital photographer I am today. And one of the problems that I have with people that come into my studio as interns and students is that if they are strictly a digitally based photographer, that they've never had any film experience, that their understanding of the decisive moment and their understanding is a lot different than my understanding of it. It's very hard to teach it. So that there is something to be said for the analog aspects of photography.
I know, some of these kids are so good, and they've never ever laid their hand on film. Some of these kids are absolutely brilliant. When I was in Canada at that trade show, and they had some student stuff there. And dude, if I'd have said this is all working pros, nobody would have blinked an eye. I mean, it was. And these kids, they've never gotten their hands dirty. They've never.
And I'm not arguing that there aren't kids doing that today. I'm just saying that wouldn't it be nice if they could have that experience as well, because there are certain things about it that I find inhabit my photography in a way in which I frequently see absent.
I know, but you know what? You could make the same case for pilots. So you have a brand new pilot. He's 22 years old. He goes to the Air Force training thing, and he's never flown a crop duster. He's never flown a biplane. He's never had the wind in his hair. He's never had all that experience. But he's still a hell of a pilot. It's like, would it have been nice if he'd have had that? I had to use the rudder, and I'm out there, and the bugs are hitting me in the face, and we're, you know, that would be great. It would give him an appreciation. I think there's a big difference for an appreciation of what it took to get to jets versus flying that crop duster makes me a better pilot of a Boeing 787 Dreamliner.
I think that in the course of training somebody photography, that there should be a semester or two of analog. And the only reason why I think that is that there is just a way in which you interact photographically with those tools that inhabit the more digital tools better.
There is, though. It's called art history.
I have found that the students that I get that have had some film training, okay, versus those that don't, tend to have a more advanced eye from the get-go. Because what is forced is this. Count to 4 for me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You've just spent $20. Because that's the way film is. That's what it would cost to do.
I shot film. I used to do film all the time.
But I'm saying is like, so what happens is your ability to see the moment is a bit different.
I know, man, but to Scott's analogy with the plane and that, I think when you preach that to people, you just become
that old guy.
You're the old guy saying,
"Well, no, I
get your hands dirty. It's not like I did it."
And all you do, they don't want to do that.
No, I get they don't want to do it, and I appreciate that. And I'm just saying, it's like what happens is when you don't have that discipline, or I impose this on my students, which is here's a very small flashcard. That's what you got. I
like that. I think, but it's fun. It doesn't make them. I don't think it makes them any better photographer, but I think it gives them appreciation. See, there's a difference. Between I got better because I had to use a small flash card until I now appreciate when I look at film photographers. son of a gun, that guy had to shoot this with a roll of 24, buddy, high five, because I need 1,200 shots to get close to that. And I think there's a big difference between appreciation and education. Matt.
And I say this with all due respect to anybody that is in an advanced stage in their career that has seen many changes in the past. You have to think that, because if you don't, then you're saying everything that you knew and learned in the past is worthless. So you have to think it.
Well, no, all right, okay. I will never pick up a film camera as long as I live. I never want to walk into a darkroom again as long as I live. Why? Because I've done that, and I know what a pain it is. But what I'm saying is that my film discipline, that knowledge, is what informed me to be able to write a book about black and white versus simply taking the color out of a picture. It's understanding how color interacts. And when we teach that, when we teach photography, there needs to be some keeping of what was good about analog. I fully agree with the stuff that was awful about old photography needs to go away. The stuff that was cool, we have to figure out a way to preserve. Just like with digital, there are things about digital that are great we need to amplify and preserve. There are things about digital that are not so great we need to figure out how to get rid of those, that it has to be a marriage. Now, have I seen people that are coming up that are spectacular photographers? Yes, but my issue is that sometimes, and more often than not, Photoshop is approached as a verb, not a noun. And the difference between my training as a photographer from back in the day, and I respect your argument, and there is some validity to that, that I'm willing, well, I agree that there's validity to it.
Sorry.
I'm thinking of an expletive right now. It begins with an A.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say a word.
All right, so no, the point being is that I think that we need to come up with a better shooting discipline rather than just shoot the bejesus out of it, which again, I am guilty of doing. But my decisions of shooting are based on, I have 36 exposures. So if I shoot 3,000 frames, my goal is all 3,000 frames are usable. That is what I learned from analog photography. Now, how do you shift that knowledge to digital? Limited flashcards, coming up with exercises like that.
Let me pose one quick thing to you.
Yes, sir.
Because I just taught a class where I recommended that people do this. So when I go out and I shoot a landscape, all right, I put my camera down on the tripod. I actually take my camera off the tripod, compose, figure out where I want to shoot, put my tripod down, attach the camera. All right, focus on wherever I want to focus on. I'm on aperture priority, f16, f11, whatever it happens to be. Got my release, press the button, 5-shot bracket. I don't even look. I pick up my camera and I move it somewhere else and I compose the next photo. And I recommended everybody that I taught in this class do the same exact thing. And I can't imagine a time really where I won't do that. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to think about exposure. I don't want to think about how it's good. I want to compose the photo and be done, because all that other crap is technical. And there's nothing fun about looking at the histogram, looking at the RGB values, looking about any of that crap on the back of your camera. I don't want to worry about it.
No, the crap on the back of your camera is...
But do I know it? Absolutely I know it. But I sit there and I click once, 5 shots are done, I pick up my camera and I move on. I don't have to think about it. And so I am shooting the bejesus out of it.
May I offer an alternative argument?
Please.
Okay, it has to do with...
Could we talk you out of it?
Why no, Scott?
This is turning into a good show.
Okay, the alternative argument to that is you have to understand the physics of what you're doing. Yes, that's not fun to some on the surface. The fact that focus responds differently because of resolution in digital versus film. That I will shoot multiple focus points. That the fun of it is when you're all said and done putting that picture together and it has its own life on the wall. You have the most perfect expression of your voice. Technique is there to make it so you don't have to shout. It's there so you could speak at a normal volume or whisper to be heard. Now, is it important to know those things? Yes. When I go out in the field to shoot a landscape, what would I do? Similar to what you do, which is I get the master shot and then I go to all the different things that I want in focus and then get those things. I tend to go between f8 and f11. Why? Something called critical aperture, sharpest picture. Then wide open because I want bokeh. Pronounced bokeh, not Boca. Boca is a city in Florida.
It's actually a religious debate.
It could be. Yes, it is a religious debate, but in Japanese, my understanding is it's pronounced bokeh. But regardless.
Japanese say hello different too.
They do. The point being is that, yes, you need those things, and yes, it needs to be fun, and what you have to come is to the balance of technique and fun. The problem is photographers tend to be very technical and not much voice, or all about voice with no technical. And I think that there is a balance between the two. And if I have to err in the direction of a technically perfect but sterile photograph versus incredibly interesting photograph but a technical mess, I will take the incredibly interesting photograph and technical mess over the technically perfect sterile photograph. Voice and gesture are the most important things in a photograph. Now, does technique make it so that my voice is heard easier? Yes, that's why we teach all of these classes and do all of these things and go nuts learning all of this stuff. But bottom line, you throw all that crap out when the picture takes you versus you take the picture. And that's what's important. So do I think that there's validity into your argument? Yeah, shoot and go. But at the same time, once the shot that takes you is captured, think about the things that you could get. We had a conversation about expanding the dynamic range of everything, which is what I do. And it's like, I shoot whatever takes me, the answer is yes. So we are, I believe, on the same page.
Yeah, I think the end result is we want the same type of photo.
Right.
So Vinny, I've known you for many years, and
it's true, since before your son was 16.
I've known you for many years, and I just want to say, what you just said was the biggest load. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I wanted to just tell you a story. It's semi-based on this. I don't want, because you both have very good points.
Boy, did this show take a turn.
Yeah, it did. Okay, and I want to read some more comments. We're already over time, but I want to tell you a quick story. I'm out on a shoot. I've told this before on the grid. I'm out on a shoot, sitting there talking to a guy. He doesn't have any idea who I am, which is like most people. And we're talking, and he's like, "Oh, you're a photographer, me a photographer, blah blah blah." And he starts talking about post-processing. He mentions, "Oh, I got Lightroom." He uses Lightroom. I said, "Oh, I use Lightroom too." And he says, "Yeah, how do you like it?" I said, "I like it. I think it's pretty good." You know, we're just talking back and forth. And he goes, "You know, I spend a lot of time in the darkroom, and I really, really feel like my darkroom time has really helped my Lightroom skills." And so I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." And I go, "I'm pretty familiar with the develop module in Lightroom, and that's where all black and white processing is done. So I'd be interested to know how exactly has it helped you? So you're in Lightroom, you're sitting in front of it, here's the sliders. How does your darkroom processing help you?" He goes, "Well, I think it just has you, looking different." Okay, so you do what? What slider is it that your darkroom experience in years has changed how you're going to process this? So, well, dude, he couldn't answer. I asked him 100 different ways. I said, "Seriously, give me anything. Tell me something. Is it you underexpose, you overexpose, you look at the whole image, you're using the zone system. Tell me, give me anything."
But Scott, you were asking him to define the ineffable.
Okay, hey, it's time for a break. Anyway, my point is let me tell you what I think.
You're asking him to F the ineffable.
And I think that you would agree with this, that the best pictures ever taken have yet to be taken. The best pictures taken in the history of man. Photography is not going to be like baseball. You know what I hate about baseball? That if you talk to somebody about baseball, there's two things I hate about baseball. Number one.
It's like watching paint dry.
Okay, there's three things I hate about baseball. Number two is, well, there's four things I hate about baseball. One is shooting baseball is there's only two shots. Okay, number two is if you talk to somebody about baseball, in their opinion, who is someone who will tell you they're a baseball expert, there will never be someone better than Babe Ruth. That everybody that played the game that was great is dead. And there will never be, I don't care what statistics they put up, I don't care what kind of a batting average they have, I don't care what miracles they do, they will never ever live up to the original old classic baseball stars. I don't care so what they're basically saying in baseball is, don't even worry about the future because all the good stuff has already happened. I think that photography is the opposite of that.
Oh, no,
the other thing I hate about baseball, and I hate this, and this is what really keeps me from being a serious baseball fan, is frickin' let, what's his name? Who's the guy that got barred from the Hall of Fame?
Pete Rose?
Pete Rose, for God's sakes, The guy has paid his dues. Freaking let him in.
Oh, I agree.
That pisses me off more about baseball than every other thing about baseball combined.
No, I'll tell you what pisses me off about baseball.
All right.
Lights at Wrigley Field.
The lights at Wrigley Field are very bad.
All right.
All right.
We need a break and
we need
to end
a break,
the show, too.
But I want to read a couple of these. I'm reading, when you guys were talking, I'm reading some of these things, and I wasn't laughing at you, Vinny, but some of these things here, I just got to read this one before we break. This guy, Alex, says, nobody frowns at learning to become an accountant or etc. Why with photography, people get offended when they're told they need to learn is a complete mystery. And then John Gibliter comes back and says, Alex, they don't teach accountants with an abacus anymore. That's the point right there. We're going to take a short break, and we come back. It's Johnny Panic time. Don't go away. Right here on the grid.
Whether you love to read ebooks on your iPad, consider your Kindle your best friend, or addicted to your Nook, Peach Pit ebooks are for you. When you purchase your ebooks from Peach Pit, you get 3 formats. That means you can easily read them on any device of your choice. Or if you're in the mood to read on your computer, we supply you with the PDF. Head on over to Peach Pit today to get an ebook for 40% off.
We are back. Hey, we're back. Hey, we got a big sponsor plug here. We want to plug B&H Photo because we dearly love them. I was at B&H. So they did an event on Monday.
I was there the week before.
Were you? B&H?
Yep, teaching for a week.
I was at the Javits on Monday. We had 1,500 photographers for it was called the B&H Photo Lightroom 5 Digital Photography Summit, and it was myself and Katrina Eisman and Julianne Cost, and it was a full day. And you know what was a little stressful? Doing a live shoot in front of 1,500 photographers, and you look in the back of the room, and there's Joe McNally leaning against the wall, and you're about to do a live shoot. You know what? That's just a little stress. And you have like 11 minutes to do it. You have like 11 minutes of actually shooting time because I have to talk about how we're doing the lighting setup and all the different things in the background and and then the actual shoot. How long do we shoot actually like pressing the shutter button? 5-10 minutes at best. And so
between you talking.
Yeah, with talking and everything else, like 5 to 10 minutes shooting, and it was anyway, it was a little stressful. But if you get a chance to go by my blog, scottkelby.com. Yesterday on my blog, I showed a bunch of behind-the-scenes photos, and you can go see. Also, today on my blog, RC's got a really good guest post. Did you read RC's guest blog today? Go to my blog, scottkelby.com, and check out RC's guest post. He used a little Shakespearean thing at the headline, but it's actually a very good story, and it would make a great episode of The Grid. There it is, right there. To thine own self be true. RC. And you know what is true? Truth is HDR. That's the truth. All right. Hey, you know what? We have a bunch of comments, but all these comments are really, it was kind of different about what we wanted to talk about today. We really wanted to talk about the future of post-processing. What he really got into was, will I push?
What computer or what device will you post-process on?
It got into that. And it was our own fault because I started Matt off with that today. But I do want to read Johnny Panic's. He said, what will happen when we have foldable screens? iPad-sized device with the ability to unfold to a screen with a larger size. The future? Yes, I think that is the future. I think you're going to be able to, wherever you go, boom, I've got a desktop.
Digital paper.
Digital paper kind of thing.
Right.
Yep. So, and there's a lot of great comments here, but a lot of them are, hey, LT Churchill or LT Churchill, or
I think it's LT Churchill.
Light Churchill. 1982. Why calibrate when a viewer is using different calibrated products? Actually, Alex, who's a girl, not a guy, how about this? We leave this stuff alone and go out and create some worthy
images.
I do need to mention Rob. So Rob, we have a different guy running the jib today. It's Rob. He's very good. He's a very talented guy. But no one ever told him about putting the jib directly in front of the monitor that we read your comments on. So, and apparently he's drinking because like we're looking around it like this, we're trying to get around it, and he's not even the least bit.
There. Hey, can we switch to the jib?
Yeah, can we switch to the jib shot?
Come on, let's do it.
Jib shot? There it is.
Jib shot.
Move it around a little, Rob, up and down.
Yeah, all right. There we go.
Quick, faster.
They can't move jibs fast. The jib operators are
There
very
we
deliberate.
go.
There we go. I'm
There
getting
we
sick.
go. All right.
Anyway, man, this is a great topic. We can do so much more with it, but we've run out of time. I do want to tell you where to go to enter the contest to win some of these great books, including a signed copy that I'll be holding when the camera comes back to me. Go. Hey, let's make it a still. Ready? Go. You didn't have to have everybody's mouth open. All right, go to our website.
No, you got to get this look right.
Here we go.
Got to get that.
All right, go to KelbyTV.com/contest. Is it contest or contest? It's just contest. You'll choose the grid from the little show. You'll put your name in, which is required, your email, which is required, and then leave us a comment. And you can say anything you like there. And if you say something nice, it increases your chances of winning. Not really. Hit the send button at the very end. And you're entered into the contest. We'll pick some winners and we'll let you know. So, Vinny, thank you very much, buddy. That was you really had some great insights. Even though I don't agree with a dang thing you said, I love the way you. No, I'm just totally kidding. No, I thought you both really had some great points, even though they were on different sides of the spectrum. I will say I do side a little more with Matt, just because of and I've talked about this. I'm not going to talk about this to death on today, but I talked about. Like my daughter's 7 years old. She goes to school and they're teaching her cursive. It's something that will be used when she's in her 50s to write her grandmother.
It's hand-eye coordination.
You know what? That is the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard. Let me tell you. That's what they tell you. You know what? It's exactly what the teachers tell you. It helps their hand-eye coordination. You hand my daughter a game controller, and you will see hand-eye coordination at a level that adults can only dream of. So let me tell you what. She runs her iPad. She runs her. She has a laptop. She runs this stuff like it's absolutely nothing. I have never ever seen a moment in my daughter's life since she was like 4 months old where I thought she has a hand-eye coordination issue. She needs to work on that.
What about intellectual pathway?
Dude, she has an intellectual pathway, which is Maggie the Wonder Dog. That dog is full of knowledge that's transferred directly to my daughter.
Maggie the Wonder Dog?
Dude, have you ever seen Maggie the Wonder Dog?
All right, we gotta go.
No, I've never seen Maggie the Wonder Dog.
It's the cutest dog you've ever seen. I'm sorry, we still have a show?
Are they still recording?
Maggie the Wonder Dog. We gotta go. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Vinny.
Thank you.
Good job, buddy. Matt, as always, you're a super lover. Take care, everybody. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace. All right, make it still.
This week's episode of The Grid is sponsored by NAPP. Shoot today, upload tonight, we ship tomorrow. On One Software, focused on photography. Peach Pit Press, publishers of technology books, ebooks, and videos for creative people. Epson, exceed your vision. Expo Imaging, rogue flash vendors for speedlight enthusiasts. Intel, the power you need for hardcore creatives. Squarespace, everything you need to create an exceptional photography website. And B&H Photo, the professional source.